Are you taking the IELTS speaking test in the coming weeks or months? If so, you should watch this video because I'm going to be discussing some of the IELTS speaking part 1 topics that you might be asked in 2021. Let's do it. Hello, my name is Keith. If you don't know me, I run the website Keith Speaking Academy, as well as this YouTube channel, English Speaking Success. And today I'm going to be looking at some IELTS speaking part 1 topics, looking at some vocabulary and ideas that can help you speak more fluently on these topics. First of all, I'd just like to give you a few tips for IELTS speaking part 1. Okay. The first one is your mindset, which is a bit like your attitude, right? You need the correct mindset as you go into the IELTS speaking test. And I think the best mindset is to think, I'm going to enjoy this. Really, may sound strange, but when you start thinking, I'm going to enjoy this, lots of things change, your chemistry changes, you start smiling. It helps with the nerves. Think that you're going to enjoy it. Second tip is really at the start of the test, part 1, keep it simple, right? K-I-S-S, kiss. Keep it simple. Don't try to bring out lots of complicated grammar, complex vocabulary right at the very beginning. Give yourself a break. Take it easy at the start. Just relax, keep it simple language until you warm up, like after maybe 2 or 3 questions, and then you can start bringing in the complexity if you want. But at the very beginning, kiss. Keep it simple. Finally, my advice for your preparation for IELTS speaking part 1, many students ask me, can you give us a list of the questions? And I actually think now that that doesn't help you. Don't focus on the questions, because what often happens is you start memorizing your answer for that question. And if the question's a bit different, you may not be able to respond, or your answer will sound strange and memorized. If you focus on the topics, what happens? You build up flexibility. You build up the language to answer any kind of question on that topic. So focus on the topics rather than the questions. That's what we're going to do today. Let's begin. Okay, first of all, we're going to talk about, I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. Oh no, my mind's gone blank. Oh, what was it? It slipped my mind. I remember. We're going to talk about forgetting and remembering. Ha ha ha. Right. Yes, forgetting, remembering, memory, all of this kind of topic, really interesting topic. So first of all, let's talk about what do people forget, right? Well, what do you forget? Yeah, me too, right? I'm terrible at remembering names. I forget my own phone number sometimes. Very embarrassing. Excuse me, what's your phone number? I'll just check. Facts and figures. I'm terrible at remembering facts and figures. Birthdays. Vocabulary in the IELTS speaking test. Right, you might forget that, right? So let's talk first of all about having a good memory, and who better than my wife to teach us about that, right? Now listen, my wife has a great memory for names, numbers, facts and figures. It's amazing, right? I don't know how she does it. She almost has a photographic memory. Some people say she has a memory like an elephant. She doesn't look like an elephant. She has a memory like an elephant. Let's be clear, right? So some interesting expressions, right? Have a memory for something. For becomes for. I've got a great memory for names. I've got a good memory for numbers. Right, nice language. A photographic memory is a bit like the spies, where you look at a document, boom, and you can put it like a photograph in your memory. My wife is not that good, but she almost has a photographic memory. And then a memory like an elephant is a typical idiomatic expression we have. Now, I am the total opposite to my wife, right? I've got a terrible memory. I've got a brain like a sieve. Great expression. A sieve, right? Is that kind of household appliance, kitchen utensil, where you put something in like pasta and the water comes out, right? I've got a brain like a sieve. When I try to remember names, I draw a blank. Right? My mind goes blank. So good expressions, you can say I draw a blank or my mind goes blank. Just means you forget, right? Another nice expression is it slipped my mind, right? I forgot my wife's birthday. It just slipped my mind. Slip is like when you're walking and you slip. And if it slips your mind, it kind of falls out of your mind. It slipped my mind. Never, never forget your spouse's birthday or your boyfriend, girlfriend's birthday. If it slips your mind, do something to remember. So how do you remember? How can you improve your memory, right? Well, there is research saying you can train your memory to improve it, to get better. You can do puzzles, you can use mnemonics or mind maps, different things to help train your brain. Do you know what I do? In order to jog my memory, I set alarm clocks. So if I know I have to go to the dentist at 3 o'clock, I'll set my alarm clock at 2:30 and then it goes off and it jogs my memory. The problem is if you say, oh, what was that alarm clock for? Right, next. Oh, wait a minute. I've just remembered. I need to say thank you to Cambly. Cambly are sponsoring this video. Thank you very much, guys. So listen, if you don't know Cambly, Cambly is an online platform with native English-speaking teachers where you can choose a teacher, you can choose any time convenient for you and practice your English. You can learn English, you can practice English. In fact, it's a great opportunity to practice your speaking for these Part 1 questions and answers. You get live video conferences with the teacher of your choice. You can tell the teacher what you want to study if you like. Cambly also have online courses, including IELTS, that can help you prepare for the classes. And then in the class, you can practice speaking, you can get feedback from the teacher so you can improve your answers and really improve your English and get that higher score on IELTS speaking. And what's more, you'll get a discount if you use this code. So for all of my students, and that includes you if you're watching this, just enter the code Keith-DISC, D-I-S-C. You can see the link here. And you will get a discount on top of any discount that they advertise, right? It's a great deal. So thank you very much, Cambly. Guys, go and check it out. Right now, we're going to move on and talk about trees. Right, so let's talk about trees. And you're thinking, gosh, that's a strange topic to talk about. Well, yes, it is. In fact, trees, right, is part of a wider topic about the environment, countryside, maybe global warming. But you'll notice some topics in IELTS speaking are very, very specific, right? Like pens and pencils, trees, farming, right? They become very, very specific. Why do they do that? I think one of the reasons is to test your ability to talk about unfamiliar topics. You've got familiar and unfamiliar topics. And if you're not sure about that, go and check out my last video all about learning vocabulary. Unfamiliar topics are things you don't talk about every day. Trees. What they are not testing is your knowledge of technical vocabulary about trees, right? This is not a job interview to go and work on a farm. This is an English language test, right? So you don't want to go and learn 5 or 6 different trees, including the Latin name, and start talking about those. It's far too technical. What you do want to do is learn maybe 1 or 2 trees in your country, and then learn to be flexible, to have enough language to talk flexibly around this topic, right? Okay, so let's keep it simple. KISS, remember? Now, some of you are thinking, hang on, Keith, KISS, keep it simple. What's the other S? Okay, it's stupid. Keep it simple, stupid. Now, I don't mean you're stupid. It's just the expression. I even say this to myself when I'm preparing classes. Come on, Keith, keep it simple, stupid. So let's keep it simple, right? Trees. First of all, what's this? Very good. It's an apple. Where does it come from? An apple tree, right? We've got apple trees, lemon trees, orange trees. So one of the easiest trees you can talk about are these trees that produce fruit. Apple tree, orange tree, banana tree, right? Very, very simple. In England, we also have a lot of oak trees, which are very, very big. And we have, we don't have palm trees. We have palm trees here in Spain. Palm trees are those kind of tropical trees you find on the beach. We have those here. But this is the point, right? You just learn 1 or 2 trees and then talk more flexibly. So you might say, well, yes, I have some apple trees and some lemon trees near my house. In fact, there's an orchard. Nice word, orchard. An orchard is a group of trees that produce fruit or food, an orchard. So we have an orchard not far from my house, and they've got different apple trees and lemon trees. Or you may say, well, there's a forest not far from my house, and there I've seen some pine trees. Not far from my house. That is the language that impresses the examiner as much as pine tree. It's the flexible language around the topic that's important as well, right? So let's build up some more language. When we talk about trees, we can talk about planting a tree. We can talk about cutting down a tree or chopping down a tree. To chop down, to cut. Pruning a tree. And pruning is to cut the branches. Once a year, we cut the branches to make them shorter, to prune, right? You may want to talk about evergreen trees that are green all year round, or deciduous trees, right? The ones that lose their leaves, normally in autumn, or they lose most of their leaves. Deciduous. That's a tricky word, so only use it if you're really confident. Deciduous trees. Now, talking about trees, you may want to talk about why they're important or why they're useful. Why are trees useful? Well, they provide us with, what do they provide us with? They provide us with shade from the sun and shelter from the rain. Nice. Shade from, shelter from. Shelter from the rain, shade from the sun. They provide food. We mentioned the orchard, right? Not orchard, orchard, orchard. Nice, good. Of course, put your climate change cap on. Trees produce oxygen. In fact, they convert CO2 into oxygen, which we need to breathe, right? Brilliant. Doctors actually also say that trees and forests are good for our mental well-being, right? Mental health, mental well-being. Great language, all to be more flexible about talking about trees. Excellent. Let's move on. Rightio, let's move on and talk about museums. Do you like museums? Well, you know, it's interesting, right? The other day, I was having a virtual coffee with a friend in France. When I say a virtual coffee, it was a real cup of coffee, but we were on a video conference. You know, we can't meet up nowadays. because of the confinement, and also because she lives in France. But so we were having a virtual coffee, and she said, it would be great after COVID if you could come and visit. I said, yes, great, that would be lovely. She said, you know, there's lots to do in my city. And then she said, do you like museums? And I said, well, yes, I do actually. Do you know what? The reason I like museums is because I can go into the souvenir shop at the end and buy a souvenir. I love those kind of souvenirs. So she said, great, well, we've got lots of museums. What kind do you like? And I was a bit stuck. I thought, well, I like art galleries, but, you know, I also like natural history museums. My daughter loves natural history museums. You can see the animals, the dinosaurs, all that kind of stuff. In my hometown here, sorry, this is not my hometown. In the town where I live here, we have a maritime museum because we're on the coast, right? And you can learn all about the sea and sea life through the Maritime Museum. But what was interesting is, as we were talking, I didn't give a list of all the different kind of museums. And this is an important point. As I mentioned before, this is not a test of technical vocabulary. You don't need to know a complete list of all the different museums, archaeological museums, war museums, virtual museums. I mean, there are lots and lots, but you just need enough, 2 or 3, and then to build up related vocabulary so you can talk flexibly about museums. So let me talk a little bit more about what I mean here. So building up related vocabulary and flexibility. Take a look at these sentences. Natural science museums, right? I like natural science museums, which tend to have exhibitions about dinosaurs. So I'm using here a relative clause to describe the museum, which tend to have. Natural science museums which tend to have dinosaurs, which tend to have exhibitions, which tend to have a lot of young children inside, right? So that grammar is helping me be more flexible. Vocabulary, we've got also the word exhibitions, dinosaurs. Take a look at this sentence. History museums, which by and large appeal to the older generation. Again, the relative clause, which by and large appeal to somebody. Here, we're describing the museum in a different way, which by and large, which generally speaking, appeal to or attracts old people, the older generation, elderly citizens. Right? So we've got some vocabulary, but here the relative clause is giving us flexibility. Here's the next one. Science museums, which often cater to young children. Our relative clause, which often cater to, right? Which provide for young children, or they attract young children. They cater to young children. So here we've got 3 different kinds of relative clauses that give us flexibility to describe these buildings. Here, the museums. The vocabulary is not overly complex. Exhibitions, older generation, cater to, right? But we've got lots of flexibility. Now, what I suggest is that you take these kind of sentences and you practice them, but changing some words, right? As I did, change the end of the phrase. Natural science museums, which tend to have blah, 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 and change the end. Build up your flexibility. So what I mean here is instead of saying, I like museums because, right? Be a bit creative. Say, what I like about museums is, right? Or the most appealing thing about museums for me is right? So we're being a bit creative and a lot more flexible, and this is what you need to get up to a 7 and above, right? So don't just focus on the vocabulary. I guess that's my message. So let me ask you, what kind of museums do you like and why? Right. Nice. Good. Remember, part 1, fairly short answers, maybe 10 to 20 seconds. It's time to move on. The next topic is all about speed, hurry, and haste. Great words. Hurry, you probably know. Haste as a noun is speed. So let's talk about this. I think this is an interesting topic because nowadays in society, gosh, we're so wrapped up in our jobs that we don't stop to smell the coffee, or we don't stop to smell the flowers, right? It's so true. We're wrapped up. Wrapped up means we're busy with something, or we're absorbed by something. We're so wrapped up with our work that we don't stop to smell the flowers. So let's have a look at some language which might be useful to talk about speed, hurrying up. So first of all, to be in a hurry, we also say in a rush, but make it into a chunk, right? So don't say in a hurry. One chunk, in a hurry, in a rush. Like it's one word. I'm in a rush. I'm in a hurry. Always think about adverbs. I'm in an awful hurry. I'm in an awful hurry. I'm in a mad rush. Mad. I'm in a mad rush. Great. In a big rush, right? What else can we say? I'm rushing around. Rushing around, or to rush around, is to be busy, to run around. I'm rushing around like a headless chicken. Might be a difficult metaphor for some people, but the headless chicken, it runs around like crazy, right? So we do say I'm rushing around like a headless chicken, or I'm running around like a headless chicken. I need to stop and smell the flowers. At work, right, people are very, very busy. We can say, I'm scrambling to meet deadlines. Scrambling is you're rushing and probably not doing it very well, right? Something that's difficult and you're probably struggling to do it. I'm scrambling to meet deadlines. I'm racing against the clock. Tick tock, tick tock. Because you've got a deadline, I'm racing against the clock. To dash around. To dash is to run quickly. I'm dashing around all over the office. And I always need to get a move on. To get a move on is to move quickly, right? I need to get a move on. We need to get a move on. We're running out of time. Great expression. Get a move on. Again, like a chunk. Get a move on. Say that. Get a move on. I need to get a move on. I know, I do. So we can talk about how hurried we are, and then what we want is actually the opposite, right? We want to slow down, I wish I could slow down. I wish I could take my time. I wish I could go easy. Go easy with a w. Go easy. Go easy. I wish I could go easy. So we're building flexibility, right? With this template. I wish I could go easy. I wish I could slow down. I wish I could do one thing at a time. Right. Excellent. Nice. And in particular, you know, for me, when I'm not working, that's when I want to slow down. When I'm spending time with my family, when I'm doing my hobbies, I want to slow down. When I'm reading a book, I want to go easy. When I'm enjoying a nice meal, right? I want to go easy. I want to chill out and just slow down. I can see I'm slowing down into slow motion. So, nice expressions we can use, right? What about you? Do you ever do things in a hurry? Right, understood. Well, listen, slow down. Go and smell the flowers. Enjoy life. Great. So listen, we've talked about remembering and forgetting, trees, museums, talked about rushing around like a headless chicken. And we've had a few tips, right? So remember to focus on topic vocabulary, not technical vocabulary, and build your flexibility, right? Practice sentences, changing words so you become more flexible. It's the only way you'll get a band 7 or above, really. And that's it. Great. Also, if you want more IELTS Speaking Part 1 topics, go and check out my online course on Udemy, IELTS Speaking Success, Get a Band 7+, and there's a lot more topics there for you. Great. Finally, the key, as always, is in the practice. So go and find yourself somebody to practice with and to build up your vocabulary, confidence, flexibility. One place you may want to go is Cambly. Again, thank you, Cambly, for sponsoring the video. Cambly, the online platform with native English-speaking teachers. You can choose the time, the teacher you want to practice with, how often you practice, and it's a great way to really be practicing your Part 1 questions and answers, getting feedback so that you're improving all the time. Remember to use the code, the discount code. It's Keith-DISC, D-I-S-C, and you'll get a discount on top of the discounts that they offer on Cambly. I hope it can help you. I hope this video as well can really help you think about some ideas and language for your IELTS speaking. If you've enjoyed this, like it, leave a comment below. Do subscribe, turn on notifications for my future videos coming up. There'll be more of this in the near future. In the meantime, keep practicing. Take care. Bye-bye now.